But yeah, hopefully the idea behind that section, looks like we have Vulcan taking his first pit early. Is that Phil? Oh, a little contact. I think Phil also taking his first pit early. So we'll see how that works out. A little pitch strategy happening there. But yeah, so, oh, there it is! There it is! Oh, real deal. A long tumble down the hill. And for once, he probably thought he had, you know, he probably thought he's like, oh, here we go. Here's a race where I get the start that I need. He's in second early. He's in a really good position. Then he makes contact on the downhill. Completely throws it away. And it honestly wasn't that bad. Like, look at how much ground he lost. And it's early in the race here. There's plenty of time left. Honestly, not that bad. Like, it could have been way worse. But that's still a lot of time lost. And it's still going to be a big climb for him to get back up to the front. Try to take a win here on Alta Terra. So 2 GP races for 2, really terrible starts. So I'm sure he's hoping for Guerco to have a better one there in 2 weeks. I don't think any. Oh wait, somebody. All right, I think Phil got his 2 pits early. I think Phil just decided to do them as early as possible. So top 3 is gonna be Detail, Fireball, and Slaunch currently. Then 4th is Luke, 5th Real Deal. So yeah, Real Deal's still in the top 5. It's honestly not that bad. Hunter 6th, Jared 7th, Vulcan 8th, and ooh, is that Sector 9th? Because Phil would be in 10th. I think that makes sense. But I would assume then that Vulcan actually ended up doing, maybe he ended up doing both of his pits. I'm not exactly sure on that, but imagine having the pit box close to the hill. Yeah, some people, I think Phil and Fireball picked pit boxes close to the hill. I think they picked 16 and 15. Rip. Better be fast in your pits then. It's looking like this battle for second might heat up here soon. Oh no, okay, still clean. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a pretty good battle here for second. Remember, 25 laps here, pretty long at Alta Terra. This is another classic, I mean, they all are, but this is another classic track on the schedule. Alta Terra has been raced 2 times in the past, off the top of my head, pretty sure. And it's a pretty important one because this track was the last track raced in the Season 1 Grand Finals. And that was where Armada took his, I think his first win and the Grand Finals win as well. So that was like a pretty big win for him on this track. And then this track was also raced in Season 4 where I think Luke took the overall. But it was a huge race. I think we had like 16. Oh, there's the move. Potentially Slaunch taking over second there from Fireball. But the Season 4 race, even though there wasn't as much at stake for the Season 4 race, like the Season 1 race here was big because it was Grand Finals and because, you know, Armada's first win. Like, that was a pretty big race. Season 4 race, it wasn't as big in the grand scheme of things, but it was just a cool race. Like, that's one that I like to rewatch because I think we had 16 people on this track, and 16 people on this track was just insane. And there was a lot of competition, too. Like, Blades was racing, Pancake was racing, I think Real Deal had just started. I think Roman had also just recently started. So there was, like, so much competition popping off, like, at the particular time of that race. So that's why I remember the Season 4 race. Not necessarily because of the stakes behind it, but just because it was a really good set of drivers and really competitive. Fireball going to take that second place position back. This is a really great battle here between these 3 drivers. And it looks like early off, Fireball going to take, there it is, Fireball going to take his first pick. And he does have the rough pit box. Alright, there's Vulcan. So I'm guessing Vulcan's only done 1 pit then, right? Yeah. And look at that. Look at how much time Fireball's going to lose right there. He definitely did not realize it until it was too late. 100% made the wrong call on the pit box. And, you know, if it wasn't apparent to you already, you can tell with these pits that the earlier pit boxes definitely have a bit of an advantage to them because you want to have as much momentum as possible going into that uphill. I mean, even like 7 through 10 are okay. Probably not as good as the first set, but they're okay. But if you have like this 11 through 16, that's rough. So currently Detail's still in the lead, Luke's second, Solange third, but all three of those drivers have not taken a pit, whereas you have Vulcan in fourth, who has taken a pit, Fireball in fifth, who has taken a pit. Potentially both. I don't think so, though. Hunter's going in for a pit there. I think Real Deal at some point just got both of his pits out of the way just to get some clean air, and that's working out for him. Look at how much clean air he has. He is good to go here for at least a few laps, so that could be a really good strategy out of Real Deal. He's just getting a clean track to just rip open some laps, and if you can nail the pit strategy to get yourself some clean air, like Real Deal has done, and you know you're fast at the track, that can always be a good strategy to take your pits just to give yourself an open track and let yourself really be able to rip open into it, not have to worry about people in front or behind you, to just basically run like it's practice. So could pay off for him in the end. Yeah, that was a sick race. I think it's an underrated race for sure. Like, it was just, I think the first moto had a pretty good battle for the lead, but the second moto may not have, but the battle for like 3rd through 10th or something like that was just insane. They were both really good motos, and it was a good race overall. It was one of my favorites to watch from a spectator standpoint. So let's see what happens here soon. If Detail, oh, okay, well, I was just gonna say it. Detail's gonna take his first pit, and Solange's also gonna come in at the same time. So there it is. Both drivers take their pits. Oh, Vulcan's gonna go in for his second one. Oh my God. That was, oh man, he makes contact with the goose. That was terrible. That was a terrible pit there out of Vulcan. Wow. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So, with that, how far? Okay. So with that, that means Luke's going to overtake the lead, but he is the only driver at this point, as far as I'm aware, at least in the top spots, that has not taken a pit yet. So, still a lot left to go here. And with that second pit, Vulcan actually is still in front of Real Deal, so that clean air is gone. But he definitely made some gains. I mean, look at that. Real Deal's right behind Vulcan. So he's definitely going to be working on him there, try to get a pass. And there we have, oh, wow, I completely missed it. There Luke takes his first pit. Going to come out behind Detail in second. And even with the lost time in the uphill, still going to stay in front of Fireball as well for second. So those three drivers right there, I believe, have taken one pit for all of them. All of them only taken one pit. And then there's Solange back in fourth, who also has only taken one pit. And then the two drivers back there, Vulcan and Real Deal. I'm really curious to see where everybody else comes out when they take their second pit in comparison to Vulcan and Real Deal. That's what I'm curious to see here. I think it might be pretty close between them. Let's see if anybody opts to go for it this lap. I mean, this is pretty tight top three pack. None of the three. Solange also isn't going to bite, so nothing happening quite yet. And a little bit of HRL history. This track is based off of, like, to make it even more so of an HRL classic. It's not a complete remake, not even close. But it is based off of a Halo 4 track by Armada. I believe is Mountain Fall GP, I think is what it was called, which is one of the cheesiest endings to an HRL race of all time. I don't know if I can find that on YouTube. I'm sure it's there, but I don't know if I can find it easily. But yeah, that was a cheesy race, but it was a great track, and this track is sort of like a reimagining of it, I guess. It's not even a remake, really. The only part that's a remake, there's Fireball going in for his second pit. The only part that's like a remake, honestly, is the uphill and downhill. That's the only part that's a remake. The rest of the track is pretty much completely different. So definitely more so of a reimagining. But just adds to the classic nature of the track that it's got roots in Halo 4 even. So with Fireball taking his second pit, that means that Detail and Luke are now on the clock to also take their second pits. And look at that. I was curious about where they'd work out, and look at that. Real Deal and Vulcan are behind Fireball, not by a lot, but they are behind him. And Real Deal's still tracking down Vulcan, trying to overtake him. Let's see if anybody takes their pit. Detail is going to go in. So how is that going to work out? Takes the pit. And this is going to be close. There's Fireball. And this is interesting because I thought that Fireball would have lost a ton of time off that, but he really doesn't lose that much at all. Still safe, securely behind him, but I thought he would have lost a lot more. Oh, and Real Deal's still going after Vulcan, doing everything he can. Oh, this might be it. This might be it for Real Deal. Is he going to go for it? He's going to go for the outside. Now, this is going to get interesting. That's the move right there. Kind of tricked out Vulcan. I think Vulcan expected him to go for the inside move, and Real Deal was like, nope, going outside. Gets a huge run. Gets the inside for the next corner. That was a solid move there. Takes the position over Vulcan, and that's really what he needed to do. He was stuck behind Vulcan for a while, so now that he's ahead of him, can focus his sights on the front, and there goes Luke out of his pit. So this is going to be close. It's going to work right into the three-way battle. Oh, I was hoping Fireball would go around the outside. It'd be like a perfect three-wide, but oh well. So with that, I gotta see. I have no idea how Fireball didn't lose more time off his pit. He has like the worst pit box, but I swear he gained time on everybody. Must have had a really good lap exiting. Oh, and Fireball with the conkage right there on detail, and that's gonna really mix up this race. And that puts Real Deal back into the picture. Look at that. With Fireball conking detail, now Real Deal may have a shot at the lead, because now it's Luke back in the lead, Real Deal second, and Slaunch, well, Slaunch is technically in the lead here, but we also have to remember Slaunch has to take another pit still. So he's going to be clocking on, what did I say? He's going to be hitting on some lead laps here. But not really sure where his position is actually going to be until he takes his pit. How are they weird? You got to explain, Yoself. But now this race just really heated up, because look at this. Top 5 battle is all really close within each other. Oh, and Fireball potentially trying to make a move on detail now. And there it is, Fireball that time gonna make the move cleanly. So back into third, and detail now has gone from the lead all the way to fourth. So that was a terrible set of laps there. But the crazy comeback, Luke started in the back, and Real Deal had an early crash, and now they both find themselves up to the front of this pack. So that's definitely unexpected, but that's where we're at. And Vulcan's still in the conversation here in fifth. Oh, he's going to go for it on detail. A lot of momentum, but not able to make the move. Let's see if Slaunch takes his pit this lap. Still going to stay out in the lead. And Fireball has stretched that gap. He has gotten away from Detail and Vulcan. And now he's set his sights on Real Deal, trying to get up to him. And Real Deal's trying to get up to the lead. So this might be an interesting scenario here. Pretty even gaps for the front three. I'm thinking Slaunch. Oh, Vulcan! Oh! Vulcan tried to go way too deep on the inside. Went for it again. Ends up wrecking himself. That might have just screwed over Vulcan's opportunity. He went for it 2 corners in a row and just screwed himself over 2 corners in a row. So that might be it for Vulcan. Does Slaunch take his pit? No, not yet. So still staying out yet another lap. I don't know, that's got to be something dumb in their school. That does sound weird. So this top 3 battle still looking pretty close. Like none of them are really too far away from each other. Could come down to the final lap here, honestly. Fireball with a really good run, but not quite able to make it happen yet on Real Deal, and they're both trying to focus on the lead as well. So it's going to be an interesting scenario here where Fireball's thinking, like, if I stay behind him, we might have a better shot at the lead. But I'm getting some gains, so maybe I should just go for it sooner. Let's see if Slaunch takes the pit this lap. Yes, this is it, so this is going to be huge. Going in for his pit. Not the best entrance into the pit, so that might screw him over a little bit. That's going to be a slow one for sure. Definitely not going to be out in the top 3 or even the top 4, but what about Vulcan? Might be able to steal a top 5 spot from Vulcan, but Vulcan's got the run, and Vulcan's just going to accelerate up that hill up into the top 5 spots. So that's crazy. Solange coming out of the pits in 6th. Now it's to work on Vulcan. So the top 4 is pretty far away from 5th and 6th, so it's basically between top 4 at this point. If anything gets crazy. At the line, I think we're going to hit 3 laps to go. I think 3 laps to go at the line. And Vulcan desperately trying to hold off that top 5 spot. He really wants another top 5 for his night. There it is. Let me just double check. Okay, I believe we're at 3 to go here. So 3 laps remaining in Alta Terra. Always an entertaining race here, always close. And it is getting pretty close for the top 3 spots. Real Deal had a good last couple of laps. Fireball was gaining on him, but now Real Deal seems to be getting away from him. Into the sand. Oh, Real Deal tried something a little bit different. That almost could have been really bad. Fireball's going to potentially go for it. Real Deal gets the spot. And again, like I said, this is an interesting scenario. Should Fireball try to make the move early here, or should he wait? Maybe Real Deal can catch up to the lead, and then maybe Fireball could make an opportunistic move to the lead yet again. So he's put himself in an interesting scenario where it's kind of hard to make the right call. I believe we're at 2 to go here. Real Deal holding that inside. Does not want any inside runs on the uphill. Losing him in that position. Down into the most important corner on the track, I would say. That downhill corner. If you run it really properly, you can make a ton of time. Back into the sand. Oh, Fireball the run, but Real Deal's still going to hold on to that spot. And I believe we're coming to the white flag here. Let me double check. Yeah, I believe we are. So white flag, 1 lap remaining. Can Real Deal make it happen? Could Fireball make it happen? He's got a bit of a gap now. It's like a pretty even gap between all 3 drivers here. Well, Real Deal had a pretty good run on the downhill. But it's really going to come down to the sand. I think Luke maybe has too big of a gap for this to happen. Real Deal trying to be as fast as he possibly can. Fireball even going for it. But not going to happen. I think that might be it. And Real Deal was with some good laps here and there. Just wasn't able to set himself up properly for it at the end of the race. There it is. Checkered flag. Luke's going to take the win at Alta Terra. Real Deal 2nd. Fireball 3rd. Detail 4th. And Vulcan holds on to 5th. Solange 6th. And Jared avoided getting lapped, so that's a pretty big accomplishment, right? That would put Phil in 7th, Hunter in 8th, Sector in 9th, and Jared in 10th. So yet another pretty good Alta Terra race. I think with like an extra 5 laps or so, it could have been even more insane. But I actually really liked the way the pits worked out, because there were some crazy runs in that uphill. That was actually a pretty cool spot for the pits to be. Wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but it ended up being pretty cool from a spectator standpoint. So there we go. And there's the end of week 2. Pretty solid week overall, and next week we're going to have another great set of tracks. Going to be Angel Park Speedway, Geneva Trail RX, and Outlands SX. So like I said, there's always one type of track that's left out each week this season. So next week it's GP. There's no GP track next week. It's just the Oval, the RX, and the SX. And should be a pretty good race for all 3 of those tracks. I'm especially looking forward to Angel Park, because Angel Park produced, if not the best, one of the best oval races last season. So I'm thinking it should be able to be pretty solid this season as well.